I don't even fully know if I understand what was going on. ACOTAR 6 and 7. I continued with the Heated Rivalry series. It's one of my 6-star books. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing a wrap up of all the books that I read in February and March. If you didn't know, I do these wrap ups bi-monthly, so every other month I'll do a wrap up of what I've read for the past 2 months. If you can't tell, I am a little bit bunged up at the moment. I apologise if my voice sounds really weird, but what can you do? It's whenever I have a week off work I get ill every single time. Okay, so the first book we have that I read in February was Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. Stephanie Garber's books are kind of hit and miss for me. I loved the first book in Caraval. I gave that 5 stars. I didn't like the other 2 books in Caraval, and then I completely loved the whole series of Once Upon a Broken Heart. That is one of my favourite series of all time. And then I was really excited for Alchemy of Secrets to come out because it looked really cool, the concept sounded cool, I really liked the cover and everything, but I heard a lot of bad reviews, unfortunately. I don't know if my camera's on a bit of a wonk. I know that you're not supposed to know what's happening, and that's kind of like a theme in her book. Everything is kind of like, is this real or is it not? I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it was so confusing to the point where I don't even fully know if I understand what was going on. Every few chapters we get like a little passage which is supposed to be like about a folklore from this folklore class. It's kind of talking like you're in this class and they're teaching you these folklores. We follow Holland St. James. She's on a date and she tracks down this person called the Watchman who can basically tell you when you're going to die, and she gets told that she's going to die at this time unless she finds the alchemical heart. So she kind of goes on this mission to find this alchemical heart, and then there's these 2 boys. They're kind of like a love triangle, 2 love interests, and I was just so confused who you're supposed to be rooting for, and I just didn't really like any of them, and I was just so confused what I was supposed to be feeling. And that just made me not really feel anything towards the book. And maybe that's my problem. Maybe I should think for myself and not have to have the story like explained clearly in front of me. But I didn't know what I was reading, to be honest. So I gave it a... oh, it's going to be a series. I don't think I'm going to continue the series, and that's really sad unless I hear absolutely amazing reviews. I just didn't like it. I gave it a 2.5 star. I did quite a few rereads in the past 2 months. So the first book I reread was Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas, and I may as well do Air of Fire at the same time because I finished my reread of both of these in February and March. I'm currently doing a reread of the Throne of Glass series. I didn't even realise that ACOTAR 6 and 7 were going to be announced when I started doing my reread of Throne of Glass. But now I'm kind of like, maybe I should have reread ACOTAR. I feel like I know ACOTAR quite well. Like, I remember everything from ACOTAR. But with Throne of Glass, there were a few bits when I was reading it, because it goes so into depth, that I was kind of confused about, and I just kind of wanted to reread it and fully grasp it and wrap my whole head around it, because I remember when I was reading it, I was like, I really enjoy these books, however I feel like there's some things that I'm missing and I'm going to need to do a reread to fully understand them. And so I always really wanted to do a reread of Throne of Glass. So that's what I'm currently doing. So I've done The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, and now Air of Fire, and now I'm on Queen of Shadows. I'm quite impressed because when did I start my reread? I'm quite impressed with how far I've got. I started in September last year. Okay, well I haven't got that far then, but doing 2 in 2 months is pretty good. I feel like in every wrap up, because I keep having my Throne of Glass books in all my wrap ups because I'm rereading them, so there's like one in each of my wrap up videos that I do, and I feel like in every one I just explain the plot of Throne of Glass, and then I'm like, I can't tell you the plot of any of the other books or anything else that happens because it's spoilers. But we basically follow just a very badass female main character. She's an assassin and she has to do like a few trials to be able to be chosen as the King's Champion. Like, the books pick up along the way. There's so much plot that gets added. It sounds like the first book is literally like trials to become the King's Assassin, but from there you get so many characters, more POVs, so many things happen, but I just can't tell you any of them. So when I tell you that it's a book about an assassin and that's all I can tell you, you're just gonna have to read it for yourself if you haven't read it already, and read it before ACOTAR 6 and 7. If you're going to prioritise any series to read before ACOTAR 6 and 7, it should probably be Crescent City. But if you can get through the whole of Throne of Glass and Crescent City before ACOTAR 6 and 7, then please do. Apologies if my nose gets progressively more red throughout the video, I just keep blowing my nose. Next, I continued with the Heated Rivalry series. So I started speaking about the Heated Rivalry series in my previous wrap up for December and January because I read the first two. So if you want to see my reviews of the first two, which is Game Changers and Heated Rivalry, the series is actually called the Game Changers series, by the way, not Heated Rivalry series, but I just refer to it as Heated Rivalry because that's what everyone knows it as. So then we continued with Tough Guy, which is the third book, and this one follows, I get really confused about what ones follow who. Okay, this one follows Ryan, and he is a hockey player, obviously. He doesn't enjoy his role in hockey, he's not really feeling the spark for hockey anymore, and he's just not really feeling a spark in general in life. And then he meets Fabian, who is like this larger than life kind of guy, very opposite to Ryan. I think everyone kind of knows that Ryan is gay, but nobody really talks to him about it. They kind of pretend that it doesn't exist. And even if people did speak to him about it and did recognise it, people would never think he would date someone like Fabian. Oh yeah, and Fabian is also someone from Ryan's past. So Fabian's family used to house hockey players, and so they knew each other from back then, and Ryan has always had a thing for Fabian. Fabian has always had a thing for Ryan. Childhood friends to lovers. And this one was really cute. I do think at this point the kind of hockey romances were getting a little bit repetitive for me, and I didn't connect to it as much as Heated Rivalry, and I just didn't enjoy the romance as much. I think it was quite insta-lovey as well, which coming off the back of Heated Rivalry when they've been like 10 years down the line, I think maybe it just felt a bit quick. So I gave this one 3 stars. And then we read Common Goal, which is the next one, and this one follows Eric and Kyle. Now Kyle is in Game Changers. He is Kip's friend at the bar that they always go to, and he gets his own book here with Eric, who is a hockey player. So basically Eric has just gotten out of a marriage. He's split up with his wife. He's very like confused about life. He's always known that he's bisexual, but he doesn't want to be like that cliche, the like guy who's older, gets divorced from his wife and then starts dating a really young man. And so he kind of has this internal battle inside him that he doesn't want to be that. He doesn't want to date Carl because he's so much younger than him, and he doesn't want to be a stereotype. Again, I gave this one 3 stars. Same reason, I think it was getting a little bit repetitive, and so after that I gave myself a break by rereading Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. Now this one I reread because my friend annotated Vow of Thieves for me, and so I wanted to reread Dance of Thieves, get a refresher on it, to then go into reading the Vow of Thieves that she annotated for me. And I also just wanted to reread it anyway because it's one of my 6-star books. If you didn't know, in this series we follow Cassie and Jace. So Cassie is a Queen's Guard, and she gets sent on a mission to infiltrate into Jace's outlaw family, kind of pretending that she's got a certain task that she needs to do, but really she's snooping around and trying to gather information on this certain thing that they're looking for. I'm trying to be kind of vague. But her and Jace end up being stranded alone together for quite some time, literally handcuffed to each other, and they get to know each other. They obviously fall in love a little bit. The whole time there's this underlying thing between them where they're both kind of keeping secrets from each other, and they're both kind of betraying each other, and it's just really entertaining and really good. Then I read the 5th book in the Game Changers series, which is Role Model. This one was a little bit better than the other ones. I still just gave it a 3-star. It still wasn't like a bumped up to a 3.5 for me, but I did enjoy it. It had a lot of Ilya in it, which I think is why I enjoyed it a little bit more. One of the guys is the social media person on Ilya's team, and then Troy, who is featured earlier on in the book, he's like a horrible guy, a homophobic guy earlier on in the books. Turns out he's actually gay, but then he transfers to the same team as Ilya, and kind of everyone hates him because he's always been seen to be friends with like the most homophobic, horrible guy in the league. It's kind of about him trying to like make amends with Ilya's team because Ilya's team are very supportive, and so Troy has to kind of make them come around to him. And then he also sparks up a romance with the social media manager of the team as well, and it's very sweet. In fact, I probably could bump that one up to a 3.5. Then I read the final one that we have so far in the Game Changer series, which is The Long Game. This one now goes back to following Shane and Ilya, and I actually rated this one 5 stars. I thought it was so good. I didn't even rate the first Heated Rivalry book 5 stars. I don't want to say too much because obviously it carries on from the first Heated Rivalry one. If you didn't know already, Heated Rivalry follows two hockey players who are on rival teams, and they're the captains of the rival teams, and they see each other, you know, when their teams play against each other, and every time they see each other they kind of hook up, but they never let it go any further. They never let any feelings get involved, or they try to never let any feelings get involved, because they're like, everyone would think it was wrong, but obviously feelings do get involved, and they kind of try and work out how their relationship will work in secret, and it basically follows them on from there. But this one focuses a lot on Ilya, a lot on his therapy, what he's been through in his life, what he's going through at the moment, and it was actually so sad at some points. Like, it was so sad, but it was very happy at other points, and I just really loved this one. Then I read Crooked Kingdom. I just finished this the other day actually, and this is the second book in the Six of Crows duology. I think there's a novella coming out this year at some time. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't anywhere near Six of Crows. It made me really upset actually, because I really enjoyed Six of Crows. I kind of thought there was 2 people in this that we would do a little bit more with, but they kind of got like really quickly wrapped up at the end, and I wanted to see more of them. There was something that happened in this where we lost a character, and I just thought, I can't believe you've done that to me. Like, I appreciate when authors can kill off characters. I really do. I just don't think that one was needed. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think it was needed. I don't know if I was just tired whilst I was reading this, because I read it whilst we were on holiday, and you know, you're doing like 30,000 steps a day, and then you're coming home and you're reading. So maybe I was just like tired, but I just wasn't understanding a lot of the things that they were doing. Like, I was really confused. It was like I needed a mind map, like why they were doing this thing, and then this thing. In order to do this thing, they needed to do this thing. In order to do that thing, they needed to do that thing. And then it was just kind of very confusing. And I feel like I needed it explained a little bit more clearer. Maybe that is me and a me problem. A lot of the time I was confused. A lot of the time. But I did enjoy it. I obviously love these characters. I love Leigh Bardugo's writing. We basically follow like 6 outcasts, and in the first book they go on this heist. I never know if things are spoilers or not, but they go on this heist to retrieve something that will then bring them a lot of money if they manage to do it. But it's a very dangerous heist, so they have 6 people, all with different skills, and they all come together and they all try to survive this heist. I don't want to say too much more, but this book continues following them, and it's such a fun family. Everyone is like such their own character. I really appreciate that when there's 6 main characters, it's quite hard to make them all stand out individually and make you love all of them equally, and I think I did. Obviously I have my favourites, but I loved all of them and I enjoyed all of their POVs, and I think that's a big talent to be able to do. And I do really enjoy how much it makes you think, and I'm like, Leigh Bardugo's brain is amazing for coming up with this, but I just feel like it could have been a little bit more clearly explained. This book I literally finished yesterday, and it is the last book in this video, and that is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. What do I say about this book? I don't have a rating for it. I haven't rated it yet. I will rate it by the time this video goes up and I'll put it on the screen. It is terrible. But I really enjoyed it, and I binge read it. It was so addictive, but I can recognise that it was also not very good. I think that the things that she writes about and the things she draws attention to is very important. I think that she's good at writing characters and writing the dynamics between them. I think there is just a lot of cringy lines in this. I don't think that she's a bad writer. I think that there is a lot of cringy lines that we can maybe tweak and make a little bit less cringe. It's basically just like the one-liners that just make you go, I can't believe that's been written in a book. So that's why I'm really stuck on what to rate it, because I was cringing a lot throughout this book, and I really don't like to be cringing. Basically, we follow Johnny and Shannon. They both go to this school called Tommen. Johnny's this like big rugby player, like he's very well known, and he goes to this college, and then Shannon gets transferred to this college because she gets bullied in her old one. There's this incident where Johnny accidentally hurts her. He finds out what has happened in her past, and he kind of takes on the responsibility of protecting her. I'm sure, okay, I am sure. I probably say it quite a lot because it does affect me in my everyday life. Like, nothing is built, no clothes are built, like, go to the gym, I can't fucking reach anything. Like, I get it, like, being short comes up a lot in your life. I don't think it needs to come up as much as it comes up in this book. It is all the time. It's books like this that are giving us short girls a bad rep for being pick-me. It's just describing the plot of the book, but that was just another thing that reminded me that annoyed me. I don't know if there's much more of a plot than that. Have a bit of a friendship, they both obviously like each other, but like there's always things in the way, being like, oh, we can't date because of this reason. It's just very addictive. However, when I wasn't reading it because I went on holiday and I didn't want to bring this chunk of a book with me, and it's £6 on Kindle Unlimited, so I was like, no thank you. So I just didn't read it for a week. And I came back and I wasn't like that into it anymore. So I feel like when you're reading it and when you get into it, it gets really addictive, but then you take a break from it and I can just forget about it. I don't know, I'm really torn on a rating, but it was alright. Anyway, those are all the books that I read over the past few months. If you've read any of these, please let me know what you thought of them. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and you can turn the bell on, you'll be notified every time I upload. And if you want to, you can follow my social medias @_Library of Eden on both TikTok and Instagram, and I'll see you in my next video very soon.